up, you guys? My name is Grace Lauren Taylor, and you are listening to episode 43 of the Trauma Dump Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. Here at the Trauma Dump Podcast, we seek to answer the question, what is mental health? How do I take care of my own, and how do I support others? This week, we will be discussing the topic of what are the consequences of parentifying your children with our very special guest of the week, Jodi Wright. Be sure to go follow Jodi over on TikTok. Her TikTok is at x_jwright. That is WRIGHT23. Make sure you go follow her over on TikTok. Show her some support for being on this episode and sharing her story. Now, let's get into this episode. Remember, if you'd like to share on the show, please message us in our Discord in the podcast participants channel, and we will match you to the right episode. And just a quick disclaimer before we start, I am not a licensed health professional. This podcast only seeks to create community and further understanding of these topics that are so often overlooked and extremely misunderstood. If you or a loved one are in need of medical professional help, we have resources in our description. The topics discussed here are for a mature audience, so viewer discretion is always advised. So today, we're going to be discussing the consequences of parentified children, but we first need to get into the nitty-gritty. What is parentification? Parentification occurs when parents look to their children for emotional and/or practical support, rather than providing it to their children. Hence, the child becomes a caregiver and is no longer being cared for. And as a result, parentified children are forced to assume adult responsibilities and behaviors before they're ready to do so, and before they even understand, the gravity of said responsibilities. In addition, they don't receive acknowledgement or support for taking on these responsibilities. The idea of a parental child first appears in literature in the late 1960s when a group of psychologists in the US studied the family structure in the inner city. Given the high rates of single motherhood, incarceration, poverty, and drugs, they found it often fell to a child to act as the family's glue. And I just want to give this big disclaimer. I'm not a licensed psychologist, none of that. I'm not a mental health professional, okay? So all of the information that I'm getting is from my friends who are in the medical field and a lot of research that I have done. If you want to check out any of our research, you can please check out our description. And while we're at it, please hit that like button if you're watching us over on YouTube, and hit the subscribe button, clicking the post notification bell so you get a notification every time we post. And just a reminder, we post new episodes every Sunday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. And if you could do us a big favor, it would really help the podcast out a lot if you share this episode with your friends. If this really resonates with you and you're like, dude, I know one of my friends that was definitely a parentified child because they were the mother or the father of, your group of friends, send this to them. Let them know that you care and that you're thinking about them. The word parentification was coined by the Hungarian-American psychiatrist Ivan Bosmor-Nagy, who was the founder of the field of family therapy. The word describes what happens when the role of parent and child are reversed. Consequently, this role reversal disrupts the natural process of child development. In most cases, it has far-reaching negative effects on the child's mental and physical health, and it enables the parent to regress into a childlike dynamic. I really faced this growing up. Now, I'm the oldest of three. I have two younger brothers who we will not mention their names, but hi, bros, if you're watching. I'm the oldest of three. I was very much parentified. I'm also the only daughter. And so I think in a lot of cultures, there really is oldest daughter syndrome of when, families first have a daughter, they really look to that daughter to take on an immense amount of responsibility, especially when the mother starts having more and more children. So you see this dynamic in like especially religious centered families or families that have multiple children. You don't really see this dynamic as much in single child family households, but you do very often see it in multiple children family households. And it's horrible. I I can't say that like enough, how draining and horrible it is to be parentified as a child. How it really steals your autonomy as a human being and makes you a caretaker, and it's so ingrained in you as a child that it's the foundation of who you are as a human being. And so when you get out of that, parent-child dynamic, or some people don't even, but I did, thankfully, when you get out of that, it's very hard to be an individual and just take care of yourself, because most of the times you don't know how to. Most of the times you don't know what it is to be taken care of. And so a lot of people who have been in this dynamic will fall into abusive relationships, will fall into relationships where they are the caretaker for all of their relationships, whether it be friendship or romantic. And they can take on so much work and so much stress from all of those around them that whenever it's their turn to ask for help, it's really hard. It's really hard, number one, to ask for help. It's really hard, number two, to accept the help. And it's really hard, number three, when you've been rejected from getting help, to try and find some other source to give you help. And I just want to give a quick shout out to all of my human beings out there, all of my homies who have been a parentified child. I see you. I would love to hear your stories in the comments of what you've been through. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you're listening to us on, please let us know what you've gone through. There's like a Q&A section on Spotify that says, what do you think of the episode? Please tell us your stories. I read all of them. I really do. And I don't know what it is. It just heals some part of me. And if you need emotional support, we have a Discord server where you can join us completely free. You can share with others anonymously and get emotional support for whatever you're going through. We'd love to meet you, know you, and support you. Now, let's get into this episode. Hello, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
I am alive, I am well, I am here, I am present.
That's what matters, right?
It's been a day. This morning wasn't it. I spent $700 at the vet.
Oh my gosh. Why?
Why? My puppy ate my Crocs.
Oh, not the crow.
My favorite Crocs that were $55 that I wear every single day. She decided to fucking eat them.
She's sorry, Mom. She really is.
I don't think she is. She's behind me right now. Here, let's show them the culprit. Right there.
Oh,
Little
hi,
butthole.
puppers.
Mochi, you're bad. You're bad.
Hi, puppers.
Say hi, Mochi. Are you a bad child? She's like, no, I'm not bad at all. I didn't do anything. What are you talking about?
That's how mine are. I have a German Shepherd, a Pit Bull, and a Great Dane, but my Great Dane is my baby.
Yeah, my baby is Gigi, is my other dog. Hold on. Gigi Cam. Bloop. Gigi.
Oh, they
She,
love their mama. They're like, hey, we got work to do today.
yes, they are all around me, but it's okay. We're alive. We're living today. Let me turn off my mushroom light because it's too bright. There we go. It's a little better. Just a wee bit. So, hello. Welcome to the podcast. Introduce yourself. Tell us where we can find you over on the socials.
All right, so I'm Jodi. I live in Indiana. I'm a wife and a mom, and you can find me on TikTok at X_J Wright, or you can find me at Des and Jodi on TikTok.
Vibe. So everybody go follow Jodi over on TikTok. And let's get into this interview. Now, before we start the interview, what are your pronouns?
She,
She, her, hers. Are you
yeah,
comfortable with discussing your personal experiences?
of course.
And to make sure that I'm not crossing any of your boundaries and respecting your experiences, please feel free to interrupt me at any time. If you feel uncomfortable or triggered, we can also take a break at any time. And if you don't feel like answering a question, we'll just skip it. Okay.
Okay,
My priority is to make sure that you feel safe and comfortable at all times.
thank you.
Thank you for being on here. So, we're talking about parentification. In your own words, how would you describe parentification?
Having a child to you bear a child to fix yourself, okay? It's a broken parent who decides to, in my situation, as I would say it, is my mom was broken. She didn't need to have children. She tried to make her mom happy, and that brought me into a whole whirlwind of trauma. um
Mm.
no, she went through sexual assault with her dad, and her and her mom didn't have a really good relationship. She had a trauma bond with her dad, but she wanted to be close with her mom. So her mom was like, listen, I want a grandchild. And at 16, my mom just said, okay.
Hmm. At
So that,
16,
yeah,
wow, that's
I, I've, yes, I truly believe that you really need to do some healing before you have kids, or you are going to raise your first child's going to be the parent. I mean,
mm,
I'm years old and I still parent my parents and my sister, and I have my own life. I have my own family, and I'm the parent of to my own child. It's never stopped, and I don't know if it will ever stop.
I just want to give my condolences for that because that's hard. That's
It
incredibly hard.
It is, especially when your mom's narcissistic. She's narcissistic. She doesn't take any accountability. It's She's the victim. And even though I've been through so much, because I've been through my own sexual assault, I've been through the ringer. I'm not the victim. I'm the survivor. I understand that back in her day, it wasn't go get help. It was looked bad upon, but you should have done it as we were growing up, because it was you pushed your child abuse onto me, and that I was raped by the same man that raped you and your stepbrother. And I didn't tell my mom until my mom's stepmom busted me and my mom's dad. I didn't tell my mom that I was raped from 4 to 10 until I was 20, probably 26, 27. I kept it. I didn't tell nobody. I just dealt with it. There was enough going on. I had enough to take care of. I would say that my raising of my family started at 3. My parents were they didn't need to be together. They would drink and issues would arise. And then next thing I know, they'd be gone. They'd both leave the house at 3 years old. And then I'd be like, okay, well, I'm the only person here. What do I do? Okay, there's a phone. Back then they had the phones to where you could preset the contacts. I knew which one to call first. I'd call my uncle and I'd be like, hey, they're doing it again. And then he'd be like, all right, stay put. Well, I couldn't stay put. I had to go find my parents. At 3 years old, I didn't want my parents to go to jail. So it was either, what do you do? So I'd go find them. And then, my uncle would come over and he'd help de escalate the situation. And that was probably 7 nights a week for a long time. A long time. Probably until my dad had his first heart attack. And that was 4 years ago. It
Mm.
just, when they fight, they call me. When issues arise between them, they call me. When I got a phone call a couple years ago, and I had to meet the police on the highway because my mom was beating the shit out of my dad. But did they take her to jail? No. Why would they do that?
Mm.
So I mean, it's been a lot. So you got 3 years old to let's focus on we'll focus on 3 to 18. So I start at 3. We moved to Ohio when I was 10 and a half. We moved there. Things got real bad because there was no family there to protect me or come help me de-escalate the situation. Then my mom gets pregnant again. So now I'm got to have a sibling. We're about to be 10 years apart. Well, I already know that they're alcoholics, and I already know that there's issues because my mom was a cheater. And my dad, for the life of him, just couldn't leave. That's his high school sweetheart. It was all, she would always do that narcissistic bullcrap where she'd be like, oh, I'm going to kill myself, or, oh, I'm going to kill the family. And that'll bear weight on somebody, you know? So that always really scared my dad. So then my sister came about, and I just knew that I could not let what happened to me happen to her. And then my mom got really bad into the bottle, and she was putting herself in the hospital all the time with pancreatitis. So it became me and my dad. It was me and my dad taking care of my sister. It was me and my dad feeding my sister, because with the sexual assault history, my dad, he was a very damn good dad, but he just didn't want to, he wasn't comfortable with changing diapers. He wasn't comfortable bathing her. It was none of that because he didn't want to be accused. And in my mom's mind, that was her narcissistic game. I mean, I remember being 18 and my mom, us sitting at the Thanksgiving table at my grandma's, and my mom being like, just so you know, your son and my daughter are having an affair. I was like, excuse me? Did you just tell our family I was screwing my dad? And she's like, well, you guys spend an awful lot of time together. That doesn't mean shit. I'm being the mother that you can't be because you're drinking a gallon of vodka a day, lady. You know, it was at 8 years old, I knew how to make a pot of coffee and I knew how to make dinner. I knew how to use the washing machine, the dryer. I knew at 9 years old, I had to get myself ready for school. I had to get my dad's lunch packed, my dad's work clothes laid out. If I didn't cook it, we weren't eating because my mom would only make food for herself, like nasty. Me and my dad are very picky eaters. We don't really like food like that. So I'd have to make us food because she was only worried about herself. And it was eating, drinking, and bed. That's all that woman cares about. So when it came time for like Hope to go to preschool, I would get up in the morning with my dad, 4:20, and I'd get him ready and I'd get myself ready and then I'd get her ready. And then I'd drop her off at daycare. I'd go to school. I'd pick her up from daycare. I'd come home. I'd get dinner started. I'd get, my homework started. I'd go work at an animal shelter till 12, 1 o'clock, come home, finish my homework, prep everything for the next day, and do it all over again. And it's just been like that all my life. It just, I admit, did it make me who I am today? It did. I'm a strong ass individual from it, but it's not fair. My inner child was never taken care of, never. And I think that's the hardest thing in this whole healing journey is because you have to slow down and figure out how to fix that inner child. Like, yeah. That is the biggest thing. Like as an adult in my healing process, I understand certain things. I understand a trauma bond. I understand why she may have did some of the things that she did, but I can't accept it. Just because I understand it and I read about it and I talk about it in talk therapy and I do these things, it doesn't mean that I don't understand it. I understand what a trauma bond is, but you could have went and got help. You chose not to do that. At the point that you're drinking 2 gallons of vodka a day, that's a problem. Then she decided that she wanted to go to college with me. So when I went to college, she decided to enroll. That was a shit show because she was coming to school every day drunk, sitting at my table of all my friends in school, and you could just smell the alcohol coming out of her pores. And when she would walk away, they'd be like, Jodi, and I'd be like, look, I understand. I get it. Don't let her stick you with any meal today. Mm-hmm. Like, don't partner up with her today. We'll double up. We'll do something. And it just, she's still that way, Last year, my sister had a baby shower and a gender reveal. The gender reveal, she cracked my dad in the face. And, I had to parent that. Like, we don't have a very good relationship. I really have swung on my mom. I've given my mom a black eye because she tried to kill my dad. I've watched my mom pick my dad up and throw him through fish tanks, walls, glass. And I'm not saying that my dad's perfect. I mean, let's be honest, you can only take so much from somebody. And I think that's where I got the mind mentality of if I'm going to hit you like a man, I expect you to hit me back like a man, because let's be honest, it's not right either way. Right is right and wrong is wrong, you know? But I've watched my mom not cook or clean for my dad, but go do it for another man. It's like, why can't you step up to the plate? Like, why can't you do, she don't, I mean, to this day, she don't cook for him. She don't do his laundry. I have to text him and be like, hey, do you need me to bring over dinner? Like, you know, thankfully he works with my husband now, and it helps because now my husband and is like, hey, let's go get something to eat. You know, like, I need to feed you. I need to, because my mom won't do that. She comes home from work at 2:30, 3:00 and goes to sleep on the couch. They don't sleep together. They're not a functioning couple.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
everything that you have gone through, I just want to stop you for a second. Let's take a breath. You've been through immense trauma. Immense trauma. And I'm very grateful that you're still alive, that you're
thank you.
still here, that you're not in jail. Because, yeah, you've gone through it. You really, really have. And for those of you guys listening, you know, parentification, basically summing it into a short, sweet sentence, is when your parent and child relationship dynamic are reversed. It's where the parent is being cared for by the child and the child is caring for the parent. And Jodi, that's what happened to you. 100%.
And she won't say it. Like, she won't tell you that. She won't do any of that. She'll deny it all. She'll say that she's the best mom. My dad will say that he's sorry, you know, and to me, if you come to me and you're like, I'm sorry, what are you sorry for? Because you just can't come to me and say sorry. You have to know what you're being sorry for. Just like if I do something wrong to you, I need to take accountability of that action that hurt you, or I'm not sorry. If you have to tell me what I did to you, I can come to you and say, I'm sorry, I don't understand where I went wrong, or I don't understand, you know, please explain to me so we could talk it out. That's one thing. But to come and be like, I'm sorry, the fuck you sorry for? Because you have a lot to be sorry for, but there's no accountability there from her. There's nothing, you know, nothing.
Yeah.
Her comment, I mean, she still got slick comments to this day. It's bad, you know. If she comes over for like a family party, because I have boundaries with her. I don't talk to her on a daily basis. I won't reach out to her. I don't want to see her. I don't care to see her. But my dad is still married to her, and my sister has 2 kids. So I do have to have some kind of her presence around me. But there's boundaries higher than the wall that you wouldn't imagine. I can't, you know. I mean, just Saturday she was here, and she, you know, she's sitting there and she's talking to my dad, and she just says these nasty things. And I looked at my best friend and I said, she's about 3/4 away from getting knocked out of that chair right now, because I can't do it. 1, you're at my house. Don't disrespect my house like that, trying to start an argument, you know. And 2, why is it every time you get a sip of alcohol in you, you act like a child? I for the life of me, I don't understand that. Is it liquid current? Like, I don't get it, you know? And then let's be honest, she's been telling me since I was 8, she's going to beat I don't know if you cuss on the podcast.
You can cuss. Yeah. Cuss all you want.
Telling me that since she was 8, that she was going to beat my ass. And she would walk around and be like, when Jodi turns 18, we're going to have a fight. And, you know, I'm going to sell tickets. And like, yes, when I was 16, she caught me smoking, and she blacked me out and popped every blood vessel in my eye, and then made me go to Thanksgiving that year and tell them that my dog did it to me. It just, so I mean, I still take care of them. You know, if they got an issue, like I said, I have to handle it, because it's going to go from 0 to 30 in a millisecond.
So what would happen if you got a call from the police and you're like, okay, I'm just going to let the police deal with it? Would you feel immense guilt?
At this point, if it was, I wouldn't feel no guilt. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, and people look at me And they're like, well, that's your mom. Sure, that's my mom, but she birthed me. That's not my mom. She was my womb carrier. It takes more than than your birthing action to be a mom. You have to, because I didn't birth my son. I'm a step parent. But if you ask him, I've done the footwork to be and have that title, whereas his mom hasn't. My mom hasn't done shit for me to earn that mommy title, especially when she shits on me and has my entire life, and she treats my sister like she's a golden child. And she's caused them the most problems. It pisses me off. Like I can't do it. So if they called me and said, your mom's going to jail, your mom did this, your mom did that, or if they called me and told me my mom was dead, I would fall to the ground and cry happy tears, I promise you. Because it would end. My dad, I don't mind taking care of my dad, you know, like that doesn't bother me, because I think because I've done it for so long. But I am so tired of taking care of somebody who has no accountability, no want to be better. You're just cool where you're at. And I don't fuck with that. I can't do that. Life's about growing and getting on this path and going to your highest potential, not sitting down here playing the victim. I can't hang out with victim mentality people. I can't. Because there's no healing for a victim. And as bad as that is, there really is not. And I was a victim at one point in time. I'm not going to tell you that I wasn't. I played the victim, and I played the victim hard. And now that I look back, I wish I would have stopped playing the victim so much sooner and stood up to be the survivor. Because when you're a survivor, it gives you a whole different backbone.
I think also part of it was that, you know, when you are parentified as a young child, especially a woman being parentified as, you know, the oldest daughter syndrome, I have it 100%. It's very hard to take time for yourself and grieve and be just sad, because a lot of that sadness leaving our body, it makes us feel weak. I don't think it is weakness at all. I don't think it is being a victim, being sad and just letting that sadness wash over you. But it's immensely hard to allow that to happen because you don't want to be vulnerable. You don't want to show any of it.
And I agree with that, because I stopped being a victim the day that I did genuinely tell one of my coworkers that I was going to end it. I was just done. I was done. And she was like, what? And I was like, I'm going to, you know, it was a spiral of things. It was going through all this. It was finding out that I had my cervical cancer came back. Like, it was a whole spiel of things. And then I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I was at the weakest I've ever felt, because I've been this strong girl. I've been this strong girl for so long. I've had to carry Egypt on my back this entire time. And this is my breaking point. Like, it was it. And then you go and you open closet doors that you really thought, as you were healing silently in front of everybody, you were okay with closing. And you're like, no, this is bad. Like, I have to open this door open. I have to pop these bubbles, and I have to do some footwork. And it's not easy. It was hard. I don't think anybody ever sits and is like, the way to heal is this, and this. You know, I had to do with talk therapy. I've had to try my fair share of mental health meds, and I'm on 7 twice a day. But I think the biggest thing that made my thick skin come back after, like, that vulnerability part that you speak of, is I told my therapist that I needed to confront one of my rapists. And so I did that. And that for me was, I don't know, like winning an Emmy award. Like, it was just what I needed to get where I was going on my healing path.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, as great as therapy is, you reach a certain point in therapy of, you know, I appreciate all the love and support that you as a therapist have given me, but I know what I need to do now.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a point in therapy where they've given you all the tools and you have to do what you have to do with said tools. And confronting your rapist, may I ask what happened? How did you confront them?
So, yeah, I mean, I'll talk about this story. This is probably one of my proudest moments. So, it was I went and told my mom. I said, "This is what happened. You didn't know about this," and she was like, "Well, why didn't you tell me?" And I'm like, "Look, you're not a mom. Like, you're not a mom. I had to deal with this on my own." I said, "So what we're gonna do?" I said, "Is me and my husband are gonna go confront him." I said, "I just need to do this." And she was like, "Well, can I come?" And I was like, "Sure." They lived a street apart from each other. Like if you walked up my mom and dad's house, you could see him sitting on his porch all the time smoking cigarettes. Okay. So my husband grabbed his truck and we went and knocked on the door. And in trouble a lot. The guy is, and so he sees Jeremy and he's reluctant to come out. And he comes out and he sees me get out of the truck and he was like, "Jodi, what are you doing?" And I was like, "It's not time for you to speak." I said, "It's time for me to speak." And my mom follows me up. And so I stand up against the post and I'm shaking. Like, I don't know if I've ever had this much adrenaline run through my body in a day in my life. And I said, "I think you need to tell my mom what you did to me." And he was like, "I raped your daughter from the time she was 4 to 10 every day. And if she didn't do it, I would break things in your house." Because he lived with us. I'd break things in your house. I would steal things. I would do things to get her in trouble because I knew that she would beat her. And she was like, "Excuse me?" And she's like, "You really did this?" And I tried to help you out during your childhood. And he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Can I ask why?" And he said, "You were an easy target." And he said, "Nobody was there to protect you. They were gone all the time. And when they were there, they were drunk and you were just easy." And I said, "So has it only been me?" And he said, "Yeah, it was only you." I said, "Yeah, you're not doing it to your two girls?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "So all the times that you hung out with my mom after all this and you invited her to her wedding," I said, "you didn't think that you should say anything to her?" And he said, "I thought she knew. I thought you told on me a long time ago." And I said, "No, my mom just found out 2 days ago." And so then his mom, which is my mom's stepmom, comes out, starts barking her. And I'm just like, "You need to go back in the fucking house." I said, "Because all you guys are rapist lovers. All you guys are child molester lovers." I said, "I don't know who the fuck brought you to earth to hurt the kids that you did." I said, "But all you guys harbor fugitives." And I looked at my mom and I said, "Your dad raped you. You put him around me knowing that that's not fixable. You then turned around and put your child molesting ass brother in our house. And he raped you for 6 years every fucking day. Every day. I promise you." I said, "And then you, the stepmom, knew of all this and tried to cover it up." I said, "And then you just got your fucking fix and you never cared. You never cared. You've seen me a million damn times. You never pulled me to the side and say, 'Hey, are you okay?' Like, 'Hey, I'm sorry.' None of you guys are fucking sorry." So I told my husband, because my husband was ready to fight him. And I said, "Don't touch him. You don't know if he has AIDS. He's been in and out of jail all his fucking life." I said, "It's not worth it because it's not going to make me feel any fucking better." I said, "What made me feel better is you admitting it and me being able to look at you and tell you you're a low life piece of shit. And I hope that every day you're in hell, you fucking burn, just like all the other of you people." And I grabbed my husband and we left.
Mm.
And it was one of the most fulfilling things I've ever done. Because some people are like, "Why would you do that? Why did you want to hear it? Like, why did you need his confirmation?" Because for everything that I went through, you really wonder if you're crazy. Like you need the validation because you genuinely do. You're like, "How the fuck did I get put on earth to go through all this shit? All this shit. Why? It's so yes, I needed that validation. And to
Mm.
be honest with you, I hate my mother more than I hate my rapists. And I got two of them. But I hate her because what is your duty when you have a child? To protect that child. At 3, 4 years old, my mom put me in the bathtub and she said, "Don't touch this razor, it'll hurt you." Do you know what I did? I took that razor and I cut my arms and my legs. When she walked in, the tub was full of blood. I got my ass beat for that. Not, "Hey, there might be an issue. We might need to look into this." I just got my ass beat.
I just want to tell you that in spite of your mother and all of the horrendous abuse that you've endured, I do know that your story is going to reach the people listening and is going to help them. And as hard and as shitty as that is to be like, why did I have to go through so much shit for, like, what is it for? You have all of the rest of your life now to start living for you and living for the things that you want and that give you life and give you joy and give you peace and serenity. And I just want to encourage you that in spite of all the shit that you've gone through, your power is immense. Your anger is valid and justified. And I want to thank you so much for talking about this because I know how difficult it is. And I know there's a lot of people out there who've also endured horrible, horrible things that are afraid of talking about it, afraid of sharing what they've gone through.
And it is. I mean, it's scary. And you do wonder, you know, when you're in your quiet thoughts or like when you're in your weak moments of, you know, did somebody else go through this? And I'm not oblivious. I know that there's stories out there that are worse than mine, but I just want to help people. Is it hard to talk about? It was for a long time, but it's not now because I do know that there are people. I think TikTok helped me realize that there are a lot of people out there that are like me and do feel the way that they do about their mothers. I've healed enough to know that I'm confident in what I'm about to tell you. I'm confident and I'm okay. And in some way, shape, or form, I feel like in a spiritual way, I chose this life because for the life of me, I wouldn't have wanted my sister to go through this. I wouldn't want this to happen to my best friend. So part of me is glad that it did happen to me because I did it. I overcame it. And let's be honest, not everybody can. Some people succumb to that abuse. Some people, it takes them. I mean, and I get it because it's hard. Like, you know, I know there's a lot of people listening to this podcast that know it's hard. And then if you don't have the right support pushing you to get better, it's even harder because my husband didn't. He's way better now, but he didn't understand mental health. He didn't realize that he took his trauma that he had in his life and turned it into work. So my husband has work anxiety. Like if he's not at work and he's not constantly working on something, he spirals out. He don't know what to do. You know, he can't sit down and relax. So we all deal with it in our own ways. I guess mine is I like to talk about it. I'm not looking for somebody to give me any pity. I don't want pity, but I want you to know that you're heard and you're seen. And I may not know you, but thank you for going through what you went through and coming out of it because we all got to band together. You know, back in the day, you got looked at if you were on mental meds or people thought that you were crazy. We're not crazy. We're not crazy. We're traumatized. We're hurt. Our chemical balance in our brains was thrown off when we were young. We're not made to see that stuff. We're not made to be in the womb and hear and feel all this anger. Like that's not what it is. That will mess you up from just like drugs will. A baby withdrawing from drugs and a baby coming out of a mom with anxiety, depression, and untreated mental illness, that baby feels that. And a lot of people don't know that.
Mm-hmm. That's very, very, very true. It's so true.
And my mom for me, I can tell you with this whole having to raise my family, continue raising my family, I knew at 10 years old, I was never going to birth my own children. Because one, I couldn't promise that I would ever be healed enough to give my biological child the life that they deserved. And my mom just ruined that. She just ruined it. So I knew from a young age, I didn't expect to be a stepmom, but when I met Anthony, like he made me want to be better. Like he just, I don't know. It was like this fire of like, you got to fix yourself. You can't let this kid see that you are hurting. Like he's already gone through enough. Fix yourself and fix it right and let him see you that it's doable and you can turn pain into success, because you really can, you got to dig deep. I mean, honestly, look at you. You're doing this podcast, but what made you do this podcast?
Trauma, immense amount of trauma, feeling isolated, feeling alone, feeling like there was nobody there for me. So I decided to be that person that was there for other people, whether they choose to remain anonymous or not. That's why I made the Discord server, so that people could share what they were going through and get support for it,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't have anything.
No, like people, the biggest question I guess people ask me is, how'd you do it? And I have to answer with two of the most heartfelt, meaningful things to me, but to somebody else, it's like, really? If you ask me how I got through it and how I did it, I will tell you that it was Harry Potter and Olivia Benson.
Oh.
Because Olivia Benson, let's just be honest, she's a bad bitch. I mean, she's been through the ringer just like a lot of us have. And Harry Potter, he was a child dealing with adult issues while not having parents. He had to figure out who he was without guidance from his parents, and he had to fight evil, and there was good and there was bad and there was friends, and it was all these chains of events that he got through. And I just kept telling myself, if he can do this, I can do this. If he can do this, I can do this. If he can do this, I can do this. And to this day, if you know me well enough to know, if I'm telling you I'm going home and watching Harry Potter, that's me telling you that I need a boost.
Mm-hmm.
Something, and the only thing that I feel like understands that is Harry Potter, because that's what's been there. I cut myself the one time with the razor. I didn't really mess with any drugs. I mean, I smoked marijuana. That is what that is. I was scared, so I just took it out on my hair. My hair was how I self-harmed, I guess you would say. And I really just didn't need, it wasn't like it was an anorexia thing. It was more of like a bulimia thing. But that's because I was I was zombified, man. Like, you can only do so much as a child before you're just like, golly. So I was pretty petite. I had an eating problem until about 10 years ago when I met my boyfriend, my husband now, because he was the only one that really cared to watch if I was eating or not. Like, when we first started dating, I could take a Chipotle burrito bowl and make that last 3 to 4 days, because it was just weird to me. It was weird to eat. It was weird to enjoy, because that's not something I've ever done before.
Mm. And it probably was partly because your mother didn't feed you. And so a lot of the times when we're not fed by our parents, which I can 100% relate to, because, I was parentified as a child because I have two younger brothers, and my mother decided after having, my first brother that she didn't want to be my mom. And then after having my second brother, she didn't want to be, the first brother's mom. And she was just obsessed with having babies. The baby phase, and once we were out of the baby phase, she didn't love us. She didn't want anything to do with us. And so from a very young age, I was responsible for feeding myself and my young siblings. And I got very good at stretching meals, at
Yes.
using rice and peas and beans, and like boiling beans, and being able to stretch meals to the point where, one of my brothers has told me that he can never eat beans again because it's such a traumatic food for him, because that's all we had, that
Yeah.
it's so traumatic. And he's like, I look at the beans and I see roaches, because he has like another vivid traumatic experience of, she didn't clean. She was a hoarder. And when I say
Mom,
a
mom,
hoarder, yeah, it was insane, insane. She was a hoarder. And so our house would constantly get infested with whatever. And I think one day he opened the cabinet, and all that there was in there was like a bag of beans, and he opened it and there was roaches in the beans. And so he's still traumatized from that experience of being like, I can't eat beans. He can't do
isn't it?
it.
It's it's crazy, because like my mom was the same way, and she still is. So me and my sister were obviously 10 years apart. Once she had my sister, like I really got treated like shit. Like it was bad before, but it was really bad after my sister came. And then it took a while because my mom knew that my sister was her last one. But once Hope started to realize my mom's narcissistic and manipulative ways, Hope wanted to like pull away from her. And man, did that set her off. That, oh my God, not only what she was losing her baby girl, that's how she still calls her, oh, you're my baby girl. But now you have, I stayed as long as I could. I tried to get Hope out. Hope didn't want to go. She wanted to stay with her little mommy. That's fine. But now their relationship is, I don't know. You know, my mom has failed my sister so bad that my sister is still, you know, she still quietly and silently suffers. You know, she's not ready to open the doors that we had to, because when you heal and you get talk therapy or you go seek validation from somebody in the medical field, they're going to tell you stuff that you don't want to hear. You know, I can tell her all day long my experience, and we could talk about the things that we went through together. But at the end of the day, you have to be willing to accept that. And if you're not ready to accept that your best friend is the person that caused all your drama, I can't help you. Like, and I genuinely love my sister, but her biggest thing is why aren't we close? And she doesn't understand that she's friends with my momster. She's not my mother. She's not my mom. She's a momster. I, for you, it's great that you guys have a good relationship with her, but I don't understand it because I don't. And it honestly kind of hurts my feelings because it's like, what did I do wrong? Like if they were fighting and I had to get a situation under control, I didn't let my sister see that. I locked her in the room. You know, I take her, I put her in the room, I turn up the TV all the way as loud as the TV would go, and I lock it from the outside so I could still get into her, but she couldn't get out until I could get the situation and my parents separated, until I could get it quiet, until I could get one of them to stop bleeding, until it was just, you know, where did I go wrong? You know, I left her when I left Hope, moved out of my parents when I was 18 because I just couldn't do it anymore with my mom. And, you know, I went back every now and then because, you know, life hits you. And when your parents aren't parenting and they don't teach you everything you need to know about finances, you're not able to make it. And so I had to land back at home, and every time I went back home, it was just way worse, way fucking worse.
Mm-hmm. I get that 100% too. I mean, I moved out of my home like officially in 2019 because I went to college. But my mother had, you know, kicked me out of her house copious amounts of times throughout my childhood and made me live with my grandparents. And like 2019, I finally went away to college, and my mom was like, you need to come home every weekend and clean, or else I'm not paying for your college. And, you know, I was so traumatized that I didn't understand that that's such a ridiculous like ask or requirement for me to go to school, because she originally said, I'm only paying for your college if you go to the college that I went to, if you go to Texas Tech University. And so that was the only college I was allowed to apply to, like at all. And so, you know, 2019 happens, 2020 happens, and I'm forced to move back home. But my mom said that I wasn't allowed in her house. So my dad like hooked up the RV to the side of the house, and I lived in there for a while. And June 19th, 2020 happened. My dad was hit by a car in our front yard, and I found his body, and he died and then came back, and we I called 911. We rushed him to the hospital, and because it was still during COVID, they were like, only one person can stay with him. So my mom appointed herself. And a week into the hospital, she decided to take all of us kids off of everything. So the health insurance, the car insurance, the phone plans, the iCloud account, everything, like everything. And um, even to the point where, you know, while I was in college, she and I had a blow up of some sort. Um, and I won't get into that because I've talked about it on the podcast, but we had a blow up. And she was like, well, I'm not paying for your college. And so she took herself off of all of my FAFSA paperwork and took everything off of, the payment plan, whatever. And so my dad had to make his own bank account so that he could pay for my college. Well, in the hospital, she's going through all of his financials. She finds this bank account that's labeled, My Dad is Awesome. That's what the bank account is called, which is hilarious, right?
Yeah.
And she finds out that my dad had been sending me $800 a month, paying for my school as well, and then sending each of my siblings like $500 a month because they weren't out of the house yet. But he was providing for his children. And she nipped that in the bud as soon as she fucking could, and then accused me of stealing. She calculated all of it, said it was like $30,000. She said I stole $30,000 from her, which is insane. Insane. And before even the accident happened, like a few weeks before, my dad had messaged me asking if my school had gotten money from my mom. I was like, no. And he's like, well, your mom just took $149,000 out of our bank account and she won't tell me where she put it. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. So
So
she
you're
would
too?
steal. What?
So your dad stayed too?
Mm-hmm. He stayed. Yeah, he stayed. And I really, my middle brother would always beg him to leave our mom and say that our mom doesn't love you. She's using you. Please just leave. Please just leave. Because our mom kicked out our middle brother when he was 12 and he was never allowed to come back home. He never came back home. He lived at our grandparents' house. And it was just our grandparents, our dad's parents, which they're both immigrants from Jamaica. And my dad, I know he endured so much abuse, but my dad never raised his voice to my mother, never raised a hand to my mother. He was the most kind, considerate, compassionate person. He would tell us all the time, oh, your mom's sick. Oh, your mom is sick. Oh, your mom needs help. Blah, 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 blah. All the time. Make excuses for her. But he did love her. And I know for a fact he loved us. So by the time my dad died, my mother, had already taken us off of all of his financial information, whatever, and had changed his will, which I think is insane because I had a copy of his will from when they went on like an air balloon, whatever thing. And I had a copy of his will and I found out she changed it and I had to hire a lawyer because I'm like, this is insane. She changed his will and I showed the original will to my lawyer. And they're like, yeah, we'll figure this out. And come to find out she's made like a couple lawsuits against, the guy that killed my dad essentially and other things. The insurance company trying to get more money from them for my dad's death. And she forged all of her children's signatures to say that we wanted no contest, that we didn't want any money from any of it. She forged all of our signatures. So my lawyers found this out and were like, no, no, that isn't even how Grace writes Taylor. That's not how she writes Taylor. That's how you write Taylor. Miss Rebecca. Her name is Rebecca. Okay. So y'all feel free to go wild on the internet. I don't care. Dox that bitch. She's my abuser. But yeah, she forged my signature. And so I had to hire multiple lawyers to even get on the case. And she's been doing everything in her power to prevent her children from being on the case that now we have to hire even more lawyers because some of our other lawyers were like, they just couldn't do it anymore because she's so crazy. They're like, they give up. They didn't want to do it anymore. So I keep having to fight and fight for me and my siblings because she's gotten millions, and I can't stress this enough, millions of dollars from my dad's death, from people who loved my dad who would donate for his GoFundMe. And she said in like the GoFundMe that it would go towards his medical costs. None of it did. She said in the GoFundMe that it would go towards his children. None of it did. Like she's stolen so much money from all these people that don't even know. They don't even know that she's stolen money. One time, I remember I was going through the mail. This was before she like I had the final straw with my mother before she refused to go to my dad's funeral. So my dad was dying, and my mom instructed me to go through all the mail and write back to all the people who were sending donations and whatever. And so I was going through all this mail, and someone wrote a check for $10,000, like a check. And I was flabbergasted. I was like, what the hell? And so I brought the check to my mom. I was like, the so-and-so's wrote a check to you. And she was like, this must be all their life savings because they always talk about in church how they don't have any money. Oh, well. And then she cashes it on her phone. And I'm like, are you kidding me? That's all their life savings. You don't need that money. She's like, well, God wants me to have it clearly. And she's like, now leave and write them a thank you note. I was like, wow.
You never
Okay.
hit,
What'd you say?
you've never hit your mom?
No, I've never touched my mother. I've never assaulted my mother. Mm-mm.
Most for
Um,
I would
well,
have had already put my hands on her.
I I don't have a violent bone in my body towards other people but myself. I I have had copious amounts of self-harm and suicide attempts and suicidal ideations. And since I was 3 years old, I've slammed my head into a wall, which I found out is a real like medical problem. Do you know about the attachment styles?
Mm-hmm.
So one of it's like a mixture of the anxious and avoidant attachment style. And it's something that I do like copious amounts of research for these, you know, podcast episodes. But, there's the secure, these anxious, preoccupied, the dismissive avoidant, and then there's the fearful avoidant disorganized attachment. The fearful avoidant disorganized is what I have. And they did studies on children, and these children would run around in circles and slam their heads into their walls because they don't know how to seek, help from their caregivers. So they would run to their caregiver and then run away because they were so afraid. And it creates this horrible thing in your brain where you don't know what else to do but slam your head into a wall. And that's what I still do as an adult. I have to stop myself and figure that out. That's why I have like a giant beanbag right here, because I'll throw myself onto that giant beanbag and slam my head into the giant beanbag so I can still have the stimuli of the head banging but not hurting myself. So that's like a way I could cope with that. But yeah, my mom she's done shit ton to me. I don't, that's like the tip of the iceberg. And I don't talk to her. I've completely, shut her out of everything in my life. I know that she's remarried to a man who's 30, which is insane. And she stole my dad's truck from my youngest brother and gave it to her new boyfriend, husband, whatever his name is. But you want to know what the kicker is, which I think is hilarious? Her new last name is Whitehead. Yeah, that's great. It's pretty great.
It is pretty.
I think it's hilarious. Why would you take that last name?
I would not. But I mean, like, I get it because just like your mom did all this shiesty stuff when your dad was going through it, I worked with my mom. My mom has tried to follow my footsteps. Okay. So if I went to college, she had to go to college. And mind you, we're some years apart here. Uh, if I went and applied at this job, she had to go apply to this job. When I got engaged, she went and told my dad, well, my ring's not big enough. So you need to go buy me a new one. Now, mind you, hers is the Kohl's version of my ring. Like, if you put them next to each other, you'd be like, oh, well, did you guys pick out your rings together? If I dye my hair, she dyes her hair. Uh, it's like that. So we were at work one day, and my dad had was having a heart attack. I came out of a room from triaging a patient. I was like, where's my mom? And they're like, and I'm like, y'all are hiding something. Where's my fucking mom? And they were like, well, we're not supposed to tell you. And so I was like, fine, I'm going to the speedway. And the next thing I know, my phone rings, and it's my cousin's boyfriend. And my cousin's boyfriend never calls me. I'm like, hello. And he's like, Jodi, He said, this phone call is coming through anonymously. He said, but you need to get to the hospital. Your dad just had a widowmaker heart attack on the toll road. And I was like, excuse me? And so I call my mom, right? And she's like, how the fuck did you find out? You weren't supposed to know. This is none of your business. I said, excuse me. Y'all aren't fucking married. You're not next of kin. You don't get to make these fucking decisions. I'll see you up there. So I go to get my sister out of school. I get my sister. I haul ass up to the hospital in Hammond, and I meet her up there, and immediately she's pissed. And I said, just so you know, I mean, we're in the medical field. She knows this game, right? So go up to the head nurse, and I'm like, just so you know, she's not next to kin. She can't make any of his decisions. I'm his next to kin. I'm oldest. Talk to me. And so that's what they did. They talked to me, and boy, did that piss her off. Boy, did that piss her off. Sit down and have a fucking seat. But to a certain degree, I will say that I think that the reason I still can tolerate my mother is, one, because I do have the boundaries, and I'm not afraid to fucking deck her in her mouth. And she knows that. I don't handle the disrespect. If she starts running her fucking mouth, she knows she's got to leave my house. She's allowed here, one, because my dad is here. Two, because my niece. It's not often that she's here. We may have a party, 4th of July, holiday, whatever. So I may have to deal with her for a little bit. As far as her being here, I won't surround myself with her. Normally, obviously, a party, there's other people here. So I normally latch on to my best friend and my son, because my best friend knows me probably better than I know myself. And she knows when it's about to get, there's this look, okay? When I'm about to fight, my ears start to ring, and I get these white eyes, and then it goes black, and then it's just red. And then you can't just be anybody to stop me. You have to have done something to where you can click into me. And that's what it is. And people are like, Jodi, why are you so angry? Why are you so angry? Because if I'm not angry and I'm not mad, then I don't feel nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
It does. 100%. It makes sense, because you weren't allowed to feel these other ranges of emotions. You
Nope.
weren't allowed to feel any of them. The only emotion that was acceptable was, anger, disgust. Those were the only ones that were acceptable. So that part of your brain, especially when it comes to your mother, is completely shut off as a way to, one, protect you, and number two, to have an action, because fight, flight, freeze, fawn, you fight.
Oh, I do. I mean, it doesn't take, I have probably the most control over it now out of my whole life, because I've always been a fighter. But I think now I'm a fighter for more than just myself, because my son did have a shitty childhood. I can't deny that. Before I came, my best friend doesn't have the best story either. And so, the people that have healed me, or have helped heal me, or have not walked away when they could have, I refuse to let them be hurt. And I will stomp anybody that tries to.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's about protecting myself anymore. I think I know what I have to do, and in some ways I've failed myself, and I've achieved myself, but I refuse. I don't get to have a lot of fun, because I'm always watching. I watch everybody's every move. I will observe shit, and people will be like, oh, how did you? Because that's what I do. I have to dissect it. I have to know, what are your intentions? What are you about to do? What's your next move? I'm gonna be one step ahead of you all the fucking time. That's what I've had to be all my life. I had to know where the exits were. I had to know who to call. I had to know how to get us out of the situation. I had to know how to get him to shut up before the police got called and I got taken away, or me and my sister got split up in fucking foster care. I had to know all the ins and outs of everything, it sucked, and like your dad, my dad genuinely, and for the life of me, I don't know how he loves that woman, but he does. But he's never been a bad dad to us.
Mm-hmm.
Dad worked 2 jobs to make sure me and my sister had. And I've told my best friend, was there times where we would get gifted necessities instead of the things that we wanted? Yeah, but my dad made sure that we understood why it was like that. And he made it up. It wasn't about the gifts. My dad would go out there and teach us to ride a bike, or teach us how to drive, or he would teach us these things while my mom was inside worried about herself, sleeping, drinking, not giving a hell about us kids.
Yeah. A
All
big
she,
thing with my mom was that she would lock herself in her room
uh-huh.
all the time. Like she actually put like locks higher up because me and my brothers, Assassin's Creed lock picking skill, we developed that lock picking skill as little children. Like she would change the locks all the time and we could get in. And she had whatever this called, the chain locks. She had
Mm-hmm.
two of those on her bedroom door, not for safety or anything, but so her kids couldn't get into her room.
When
Like,
they need,
how fucked up is that?
no, I totally get it. I kind of wish there was, a lock on my mom's doors at times because like, I watched one of your podcasts on TikTok. You were talking to somebody and it was funny when you said it, not really funny, but it was just kind of like, damn, somebody else would go through this. Like I get that I was molested. So yes, at a young age, you know what a penis is, you know what an orgasm is. Shit, I knew what cheating was at 3 years old because my mom had cheated on my dad. So you learn this through adult words and context. But when it was time for my sister, like my mom was very open about sex, not like a parent should be. I don't need to know what you guys are doing. I put your sex toys away. Whatever you do in your bedroom is fine. But at the point that it starts pouring into your children, why are my friends over and you're wanting to talk about your and my dad's sex life? That's weird to me. But that's what she did. She wanted to take her kids, hers and other people's, and traumatize them. Like it made her happy. I don't know. My friends at 10, 11, 12 years old didn't need to know what an orgasm was. They didn't need to know how to have sex. Like that's not what it was 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like health class was there for a reason. It was so embarrassing. I mean, there was one day my sister walked out, I was cleaning the house and my mom was gone, and the next thing I know, I'm having to sit my sister down, let's see, probably 5 years old, and explain to her what a dildo was because my mom had left it out in her room with a couple of other things. And my sister starts playing with it because she thought it was a toy. So now you just took me being a teenager, having to sit on a 5-year-old. Make it make sense. This isn't my place. This is your guys' birds and the bees talking. It shouldn't be had at 5 years old either. But here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we really need to get into what is instrumental parentification and what is emotional parentification, because in cases of instrumental parentification, children take on practical responsibilities such as taking care of their siblings or other relatives because their primary caregiver is unable to do so,
Mm-hmm.
assuming household duties such as cleaning, cooking, and grocery shopping, paying bills and attending other household tasks, being a caregiver for a parent with a disability, illness, or mental health disorder, serving as a translator in families where the parent doesn't speak the primary language of their resident country. And then in emotional parentification, it involves a child providing emotional support to a parent, including listening to the parent talk about their problems, offering advice to their parent, mediating between parent and other family member, serving as a confidant for their parent, and providing emotional comfort and support to their parent. And it sounds like you were just completely enmeshed with your family to the point where you had to do it all.
Mm-hmm. I did. I mean, my dad was there. I mean, he helped. Like there's dinners that I obviously would need help doing, or we would want, and I couldn't use a grill, or he would show me. But I mean, now, like, girl, I can keep a fire going in the rain. We ain't dying. I know how to camp. I know how to live on the back 40 and survive a good duration of time. And that was my dad, but it wasn't my mom. I didn't learn how to drive from my mom. My first car I got, my dad gave me, and it was hell for him because my mom treated him like shit for a long time. Uh, but anytime he helped me out, there was some domestic backlash for that. So like I just stopped asking. Like you said, you just stopped going because it's like, sure, you're the person that I can kind of come to, but then you get beat up. So I'm not going to come to you anymore. So then I started looking for parents outside the house. And I met this lady, and her name's Paula, and she ran the animal shelter that I worked at. And she gave me hope. It was, I had a safe place Monday through Sunday. I could go there, I could call her. She would get me out of the house. She would make up an excuse. Like, she was there. And I had her until I moved away and came back up here. And then when I came back up here, God, did it turn into a shit show? And it turned out in a shit show bad, because now we're back with all of our family. And anytime my mother is around her mother, it's a fucking shit show, because golly, they need to be in a mental institution by them damn selves.
Mm.
I don't think there's doctors that can fix those two women.
Yeah. Like, and within all of these parentification, there's also parent-focused parentification and sibling-focused parentification. Parentification can be parent-focused or sibling-focused. The parent-focused parentification describes caregiving directed towards the parent or primary caregiver. Sibling-focused describes that one child or teen is taking the caregiving role towards sibling or siblings. And so for me, I didn't really take care of my mom or dad. I took care of my siblings. I was fully invested in making sure my brothers were fed, had clean clothes, were able to do their schoolwork, get their schoolwork done, and had lunches for school. And my dad would occasionally, make us lunches, and we could always tell when he would make us lunches because he would draw very hilarious cartoons on our paper bags. But I remember one time, for whatever reason, Mama was like, "Oh, I'm going to start making you guys lunches." And so my mother has bipolar disorder. I need to make that very evident. She also has narcissistic personality disorder, but the bipolar was very evident. So she went to the store one day and got these very, very expensive lunch boxes, very expensive, like thermos for like soup and whatever, and then thermos for like a drink. And she packed like our lunches for like a week. And it was just, very expensive looking lunch. It was very odd for like the first couple days because I was like, okay, am I actually getting fed? Like, what's going on? And I was so used to, getting the free school lunch because we were in lower income at that time when I was in middle school. And so I got the free lunch. So I would still go in the lunch line and get a free lunch. And then I would have options for the first time in my entire life to have options. She found out that also I'm allergic to almost everything: corn, pineapple, shellfish, kiwi, cantaloupe, a lot of other fruits. And so she knew this, but sometimes she would occasionally pack something that had corn syrup in it. So little me was like, I can't eat this, let me also have options. So she found out. Once she found out that I was double dipping, she said, she was like, I'm never packing your lunch ever again. And she took my thermos that was still full of soup and she threw it on the ground. And the thermos was metal, like bent, and started spewing out the soup like all around the room. And she was like, and clean this up because that's all you're good for. That's what she said to me. And that was the last time she ever like made any of my siblings lunches. And she was like, you're now in charge. Since you ruined it for both you and your brothers, you now have to make them lunches. I think I was like in fourth grade when that happened. But yeah, it was such a fun time.
I don't, I that's one thing I don't get. I mean, why? Why treat us like this? Why have us? Why keep reproducing if you're just gonna hurt me? Like, what are you getting out of this? Is this satisfying you? Because if so, you really are sick and twisted. And my mom still to this day has not went to the doctor. I can't tell you what my mom mentally has. I can tell you I see a psychiatrist, and my diagnoses are pretty entailed, you know. I, like your mom, I suffer from bipolar, but I have 1 and 2. I'm treated for bipolar 1 and 2. And I have the borderline personality disorder, and the list goes on. So it really is hard to navigate life, you know. And I'm not always the queen. I have my bad days. But I keep my circle strong and small enough to know that the people that got me on those bad days. But I, man, I'm different from our moms. I refuse to let my kids see me weak as much as I'll go into my room and close my door and take a hot shower and cry it out before I'll let him see me cry or act a fool. I mean, sure, does he know that I'm angry and that I'll fight in the blink of an eye? Yeah, he knows that, unfortunately. And I hate that for him. I hate that for him. But at the same time, I don't, because he knows that I'll always have his back. I will always be there. I don't care if he's 54 years old and I'm 70. I'm always going to be there. He'll never have to doubt my love, or if I have it, or if I'll give it, or if I'll provide it. No. No. You know, my mom tries, like, this is how my mom tries to fix things is, oh, well, do you need any money? No, I don't need your fucking money. How about some accountability? That's free. You know, and then she wants to say to my sister behind my back, oh, your sister hates me. I fucking do. Do you want me to sugarcoat that? I can't stand you. You're ugly. Your breathing pisses me off. And you're not ugly because of your looks, your personality, who you are, what you've done. That's ugly. That's ruined. Whatever looks God gave you is out the door, honey. It's not. That's not cute.
Yeah.
You think it's funny to talk to people like shit. You think it's funny to hurt people. You enjoy. That's sick. You know, the names, golly, and I'm sure you can relate to this, the name calling that oh my God, you know. And I swore when I came into Anthony's life, I was never going to do that. I would never call him out of his name. You know, I would just never do it. And I got angry one day and I did call him a name. Will I say it was the worst name that he could have been called? No. In his little mind at 11 years old, it was catastrophic. I called him a prick. I said, dude, you're acting like a prick. Stop doing that. You know, that shattered that boy's world. And I can tell you, and if he was here right now, he'd hop on here and tell you, I apologized so hard. I felt bad. I cried for fucking days. I won't, even if he's doing dumb things, I'll just be like, Anthony, you're not doing smart things. Like, come on, man, you're smarter than this. Like, I'm not going to say you're a disappointment. I'm not going to say you're a disgrace. I'm not going to say you're fucking stupid. I'm not going to call you a dumbass. I'm not going to downgrade who you are. I'm just going to let you know that there's smarter decisions that you could be making. Maybe you need to sit down and think those out, you know, because those words go a long way. Nobody wants to be called a dumbass. Like, okay, joking, sure, but classify your joking and my joking. It's just like when you text something, you're going to perceive it different than what I perceive it. Cap locks to you may be cool, but cap locks to me is you're screaming at me because that's what I'm used to. That's my childhood.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. And I feel that immensely, dude. I really do feel that, of like how you interpret a text message may be different from how someone else interprets a text message. And we also have to bring into that, it's like everybody's trauma is very different. And is parentification trauma? For some people, yeah.
It is. It's ruined. As bad as this sounds, it's ruined my life because I didn't have a childhood. So, like, you know, when it's kind of like being the preacher's daughter or the cop's daughter or whatever, you really got to live by a certain guidelines here. You're not allowed to go make your mistake. I wasn't allowed to make mistakes. A mistake came with getting my ass beat or name calling. Or if I was making mistakes, I was letting somebody down, and that was just not okay, you know? I had a routine. I did that routine. I you I was living in fight and flight mode. So it really did, like, it took my childhood away and it made me never. And I promise you, do I mean, I had a hysterectomy, so you can't have, I mean, I could adopt, but like, no, no, because to me, I just want to take kids who have kind of went through what we went through, or are kids that I just want to love, I just want to love people. Does that make sense? I want to
Yeah.
help you. I want to help you heal. I want to take a child out of the foster care system and give them the love that that parent who made them is never going to give them, because that's hard. It's so hard to have to accept that your parent doesn't love you. And let's talk about the fact that when your parent lets you down and fails you, you trust nobody. Nobody. I love the man that I married to. I trust him to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
Because if my mom can't fully love me, if my mom's left me, if the person who carried me for 9 fucking months failed me, I think everybody in the world will. I have that problem. Everybody's going to leave. They may hang around for some years, but they're going to leave. And is
Mm-hmm.
it going to be my fault because I am the way that I am and I cope the way that I cope, or is it going to be because they're just done being that person? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't trust nobody. I didn't learn what real, genuine love was until maybe 5 years ago, because I just thought love was beating the shit out of people and saying mean things and then coming back together and saying, I'm sorry, and go on about your next day. That's what I thought love was. So when I got into my first real relationship, what do you think I did? We were fighting left and right. I had my second miscarriage was because I got thrown through a wall, but part of that was my fault because I had just chucked a laundry basket at him because we didn't know how to sit down and talk. We didn't know how to hear each other out. We didn't know how to communicate.
Yeah. Parentification is a form of neglect and abuse, particularly in extreme cases, and which can result in relational trauma. Relational trauma occurs in a childhood when the bonds between parent and child are somehow disrupted or broken, which creates a sense of chronic stress in which children are unable to access the support and protection that they need. And parentification child trauma can produce both short and long-term impacts on the child's life and well-being. And the earlier that the parentification begins, the more negative the consequences are for a parentified child. And from my own experience as an adult, because I was put into that caregiver role, it's so incredibly hard for me to be taken care of by anybody at all. It's really hard for me to, you know, allow myself to be vulnerable, allow other people to do things for me. I always feel like I have to pay them back in some way or do things for them in some way. And it got really difficult for me to set any form of boundaries. I think that's where the biggest difference between you and I is, which is also a very beautiful difference, is you are so able to see the disrespect and see how, the nuances between how someone's communicating with you. I don't yet. I'm still honing that ability. And I always give people, second chances, third chances, fourth chances, because my family really ingrained my name into my sense of being: grace, undeserved love and kindness, mercy, compassion, understanding. And so I was always told by my dad, my grandpa, my papa to show my name, or that they were so happy that I was named Grace, or that they were so happy that I expressed my name, or that I was the embodiment of my name. And so now as an adult, I have to still show grace, but in a different way of being like, I'm not going to accept being, second, third, fourth place in my own life. I'm not going to allow myself to put my worth down anymore because it's not acceptable. And it started changing a lot of the people that I allow into my life, of me being like, okay, I'm not going to treat myself poorly. And now I'm planning my wedding. I'm getting married next year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I made a girl my maid of honor that I should not have. I know that now. She's not in my life anymore. But it took a lot of self-reflection to be like, okay, she, number one, doesn't actually care about you. She cares about what you can do for her. And number two, she's not emotionally mature enough to take on that role. And then number three, she doesn't make herself available to you as much as you make yourself available to her. And there's a really big thing in friendships. I think a lot of people misconstrued this like free time with your availability, because a lot of people need, their own free time to decompress, to use that time to take care of themselves. And from my own experience, whenever I had free time, that meant I was available to other people. I tried very hard to, okay, coordinate, how can I help this person? And it isn't until more recently, this year, in fact, where I'm like, okay, when I have free time, I need to go lay down. I need to go lay down and just take 20 minutes to feel for a little bit. Because I've gone through pretty intense trauma for my entire life. And what that does is it starts to ruin your body's ability to like feel tired and regulate itself to where you can rest. Because rest is very productive. And so there's a very big difference when we're telling you guys that, oh, our moms would go to sleep and lock themselves in their room. It wasn't a productive rest that our moms did. It wasn't productive. It was them trying to avoid any responsibility or any accountability for being a parent.
Mm-hmm.
Taking a nap is very different from constantly locking yourself in your room and of bed rotting and avoiding what you need to get done. Um, that's why I, as a young adult, was so avoidant or so hesitant towards, you know, taking a nap or resting. It wasn't until I started talking to my therapist about I just feel so worn out. And he's like, why don't you take a nap today? I was like, I can do that? He's like, yeah.
It's literally scary because you're literally used to going 1,000 beats a minute. And I just like you're kind of touching something that I think you'll understand. Going and having this trauma, okay, and not knowing left and right and right and left and where you can vent to and where this, and you're on this fight or flight, and you're this adrenaline your entire childhood. Then you meet somebody and they show you that the world is actually full of color, and then they want to be there for you, and they want to help figure you out, and they want to help heal you. And then it's different because now you're exhausted because you have found a safe spot. Finally, after all this time, somebody wants to love you, they want to learn you, they want to help you, they want to hold you. And that's hard because when me and my significant got together, I didn't ask him for money, I didn't rely on him for shit. I was like you, it was hard. I didn't, I still really don't. I don't like to be touched. It's some of it's the sexual abuse, and some of it's because we grew up not knowing what the fuck love was. No matter, just because we had a dad there doesn't, sure, my dad was a very good dad, but my dad's not a huggy, feely type of dad. So no, I didn't know what love was, like that parental love was. So then like you meet this person and they want to love you and you're like, what the hell is wrong with you? Like, I wear it on my sleeve. What is wrong? Why do you want anything to do with this baggage? Because boy, is it some fucking baggage. And so when I started seeing my therapist, I was just like, why is it that I enjoy my relationship so much, but I'm so tired? And she was like, because you're safe. She was like, you finally know that you can rest your head and you have somebody watching out for you. There's somebody else listening to the quiet noises. There's somebody else listening to see if something's going to happen. There's somebody to protect the little girl that was never protected. She goes, it's not the adult you that's tired. She goes, Jodi, it's the child in you that's tired, but the child in you now feels safe. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense. And I think a lot of traumatized adults and children can relate to that. Once you find somebody that's safe and you're pretty sure is not going to leave, it's different. It's a different feeling. So congratulations to you to opening up and being able to let somebody in, because boy is it hard. It really is hard, especially when you're not so sure how to navigate things yourself in a relationship. I mean, I've been bad at my relationship because, like I told you, I thought love was domestic violence. It was cussing. It was throwing things at each other. It was infidelity. It was all these things. So what baggage should I bring to this relationship? A whole hell of a lot of that, you know. And not only that, but then he was into, okay, well, if I got the phone call in the middle of the night that I had to go to the house and fix a problem between my parents and my sister, who the hell do you think was tagging along and driving me? So now you're in on this baggage. And just like your fiance, I'm sure you're still helping take care of your brothers, and you're still doing what you've done your entire life. And now he's accepted that baggage. And so when you do that, it's a different level of, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, because you are safe. And it goes the same way with friendships. You know how many friends I've been through, you know how many best friends I've been through. The one I got now, I won't let go, because like you said, there's a time of free time and there's a time of availability. And a lot of people don't know that. We understand that we got our own lives. I mean, she's a new mom. We text on all day long on every form of communication you can. But I know that I'm not her first priority, and she knows that she's not mine. I love the fuck out of her, and I would drop what I was doing to go get to her. But at her being a new mom, she has to have her time to herself, that it's not helping heal me, is not taking care of a baby, and is not taking care of her husband, to still have debt, well, herself, you know what I'm saying? Like, just like I have to have that, you know. But in the same token, I'll text her and be like, yo, can we FaceTime? My ADHD is ADHDing today. I need to be productive. And she'll be like, let's do it. And we'll clean together. We're together a lot. I mean, she's healed me in ways that I can't, my husband or my child hasn't, you know, because it takes a lot to be friends with a girl. Girls aren't easy to get along with. And it's hard to bond with somebody when you've been wronged by another woman. And that woman being your mom. Because
very true.
Your mom's supposed to be your best friend, right? Everybody has that. Everybody posts those perfect relationships on TikTok. No, I'll never have that. And I don't want it. I don't crave to have my mom. This is going to sound so shitty to say, and some people may reach out to me and be like, how do you feel that way? Don't invite me to her funeral, because I don't need to stand up at the front of the casket with everybody else and hear you say, I'm sorry. I'm fucking not. Take her. Bye. My life will be easier. I'll feel a sense of relief. I've thought about this. I've healed from this. I've talked to my therapist about this. I don't want her around. I wish she'd just go the fuck away. I wish I didn't have to deal with her for my niece and my sister and my dad, but I do. So I continue this repetitive cycle of being the parent to a parent, and it's always going to be that way until she dies. And that's just what it is. It'll never stop. And I've tried, you know, I did cut her off for about 3 or 4 months, and it was nice. God, was it nice. But in that 3 or 4 months, since she couldn't traumatize me, she went after my sister. So then it was like, all right, well, let me enter back into this fucking circus, because I'd rather it be me, because I know I've taken the steps to be able to know how to handle it, and my sister never will. Because in my sister's eyes, that's her best friend, that's her go-to person, that's her confidant. I can't describe it. I don't know why it is that way, but it is that way.
Mm-hmm. I feel the same with, you know, my mother and my youngest brother. Like, that's his mom. And he's the only child that she's ever actually taken care of. And you know, he just had his birthday yesterday. And you know, I know that he's celebrating with her. And the last time I saw her was at his graduation from high school last year. And her whole thing was like, we need to take a family photo at the Arboretum, which has so many fucking layers to it. My parents got married at the Arboretum in Dallas, Texas. And so every single year since I existed was we would recreate their wedding photo and stand in the same arches where they stood. And so she was like, also on the day that he was graduating was the day my parents had gotten married, which was insane. So she was like, we have to go take photos. I'm sure my brothers didn't know that it was the day that they got married, but I knew because I knew a lot of stuff. And so I kept, saying, no, I'm not going to come. No, I'm not going to come. No, I'm not going to come. And so we were at our cousin's graduation party, which she was graduating, like, I guess a week or two before my brother. And uh, both my brother and one of their girlfriends cornered me at the family gathering saying, why aren't you coming? Why aren't you coming? I'm like, because you guys don't know the level of manipulation. She just wants to post this on Facebook that she has such a great family and taking pictures. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's fulfilling something in her little quack brain that I don't want to. I'm not going to. And so they got my uncle involved, which my uncle is my doctor, which is insane. It's insane. And they were like, she's refusing to do the family thing. And he was like, well, Grace, I'm not going to fill your prescription unless you go. So they added that level onto it. And my uncle's like, just go for the picture and you can leave. And you tell her if she posts it on Facebook, you do not give her consent to post it on Facebook, and you can subpoena Facebook saying that you didn't want this picture. Whatever. And I'm like, are you really making me go through all of this for a fucking picture? And then my brother's girlfriend was like, well, it's for your brother. It's for his graduation. I'm like, no, bitch. No, it's not. He's an 18-year-old boy. He does not care about a picture. He does not care about a photograph. And she was like, well, you should just cooperate. I'm like, oh, I fucking hate you already. So she then got my fiance involved, and he is like, okay, slow down. We're going to make this boundary right now because first it's going to be pictures, then it's going to be lunch, and then it's going to be come over to the house, and then it's going to be whatever, 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 whatever. And eventually Grace is going to have to fucking clean because Grace has OCD and she can't not clean because that is what your mother made her into. She can't not fix your mom's problems. So what we're going to do is we're not going to drive with you to the graduation. We're going to drive our own car. We will meet you at the Arboretum for pictures. We will be there for 30 minutes. I'm going to make a timer on my phone. Pictures are not done by 30 minutes. I don't care where she wants to go to in the Arboretum. We are leaving. We are then going to your brother's graduation, and then we are going home. We're not doing the lunch. We're not doing the dinner. We're not doing anything. And so we did that. And the timer, lo and behold, goes off. And they're like, oh, come to lunch with us. Come on, we'll have lunch as a family. And before I could say anything, he's like, no, unfortunately, we have other commitments. We told you what we were going to do. We will see you at the graduation. And they're like, well, the graduation's in 3 hours. And he's like, yeah, uh-huh, we'll see you there. Goodbye. And we left. And do you know what's like the kicker? Her new husband that she has, who is 15 years younger than my dad, who my dad was 9 years younger than my mom. So let that sink in. Robbed the cradle twice, but yeah. But so here's the kicker. We're at the Arboretum. Her boyfriend at the time was taking all of our pictures, and she was like, we were at the arches, and she was like, well, I want him to be in the picture. And I said, no, 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 absolutely not. And I announced to the rest of the people, do you guys even know what day it is? And my mom looks at me like horrified. I'm like, this is the anniversary of mom and dad's wedding. I'm not taking a picture in the arches with her new boy toy. Absolutely fucking not. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. The level of delusion, as that was when the timer went off, which I'm like, God, thank you. Okay, fast forward. We September 2021. So this was right when my dad was about to die, right? No, this was fast backwards. September 2021. My dad died November 6th, 2021. My mom is like, "Oh, your dad is going to die. Come home for college. Come home from college. Spend your last moments with your dad, okay?" So I did. He gets dead. He leaves the earth. He goes into his final resting place in November. He's like, "Peace out. I'm no longer broken anymore." Right? He flies away. Which I'm so glad for my dad because I did not want him to suffer. He suffered for way too long. So December 15th, 2021, is my dad's funeral. My mom refuses to fucking go. She does not go to his funeral. She tries to boycott the funeral. She posts all over Facebook that his family has hijacked the funeral, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Fast forward. Okay. 2023, September. My brothers tell me, guess fucking what? I'm like, "Mom's engaged." They're like, "How did you know?" I'm like, "I didn't know, but you told me to guess what." So that's what I guessed. And they're like, "Yeah, mom's engaged." She flashed like a giant ring at the dinner table. And when we wouldn't congratulate her, she left us with the giant bill. And we had to pay $500, but we couldn't even pay it. So we had to call uncle to pay our bill for us because she wanted to take us out to dinner to tell us about it. But then when we didn't have a good reaction, she left us with the check and her fiance picked her up. Okay. Fast forward December 15th, 2023. We all get this giant text from our mother. Basically sums up, "My grief journey is far from over, but this man loves me. And we are now married. And I'm so sorry none of you guys support me. So you couldn't be here on my glorious day." Blah, 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 blah. Where is she married to this man?
The same place that she got married to your dad at?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Girl, how the fuck? Please tell me how you've not rocked her shit. You want me to do it for you? My best friends are the part of the FBI. We'll find her. I'll help you.
Yeah.
Masks for a reason, girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
How I could that? Oh no! I hope your dad gives that woman the worst karma for the rest of her life in somehow, what shape or form. And honestly, if you ask me, my mom has the worst karma in her life right now. One, me. Two, she's been diagnosed with lung cancer twice. She's got it right now. And the fucked up part about it is she has lung cancer and she was a shit ass mom. And her mom, who was also a shit ass mom, also has lung cancer. And the mom before that, who was also a shit ass mom, has lung cancer too. So in my bloodline, it's just if you're a shit ass mom, you got some pretty bad karma.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't talk to her anymore. I'm never gonna. She's blocked on Facebook, but she blocked me first on Facebook, which I find hilarious because she didn't want me keeping track of, the heinous bullshit that she was saying. Also, my dogs are fighting. Hold up. Puppy fight.
On the plan.
But yeah, she didn't want us knowing all of horrendous things that she was spewing, the lies, because she's such a blatant liar. Gigi, my white dog, is my service dog. She's a seizure alert service dog. And my mom posted on Facebook one time that because I was at college with my service dog, because she lived with me at college because she's a service dog. My mom posted on Facebook that I stole her dog, and she would just post about it for days and days on end and how she was just so lonely in her house because her husband was hit by a car. And I stole her dog. That her friends started texting me. She gave them my number, started texting me, "Bring your mom's dog back. Bring your mom's dog back." I'm like, "No, This is my service dog. What are you talking about?
Me.
And it is crazy. But here's the fucking kicker. She got a free golden retriever male puppy from a breeder because this story was shared thousands of times on Facebook. She went viral because she said that I stole her dog, that she got a free puppy out of it.
What the I'm gonna have to go search your mom. I'm sorry.
A free puppy.
You literally are a piece of work if you go viral from lying on your daughter's name.
She got a free puppy that she doesn't even take care of. His name is Cooper. Once he started getting bigger, because he's a golden retriever, they get big, she was like, I don't know how to train him. So what did she do? She calls me and she's like, can you take the puppy for a month and train him? And so I did. And then I brought him back to her, fully trained. She never let him inside the house. So of course he got dumb again. And he just lives outside all by himself. I don't know if she feeds him. I don't know if that dog is okay because I've had dogs, my entire life, and there would be like a mass exodus of all of my dogs. She would either let them into the front yard so they would get hit by cars. I've had 3 dogs that has happened to that have gotten hit by a car because she let them in the front yard, like at different occasions, or she would just sell all of my dogs all at once when I was at school. Like she would just sell my dogs. She never paid for any of the food or anything of any of my dogs. It always came out of my own money that I wouldn't make from chores or anything like that because she didn't pay me for shit. It would be from my own money from babysitting kids around the block. So I would pay for my dogs. She would sell all of my animals.
My mom,
It's real.
she cleans dog. I don't know why, but she's weird when it comes to pets. But my mom did make me pay for a lot of my own shit. I can't believe your mom did that, man.
Yeah.
Look, this that is
It's life. It's life. And
it,
eventually, the only way to heal from parentification is to, number one, escape, you know, and number two, start setting boundaries that are enforceable because I couldn't set boundaries that were enforceable with my mom. So my next step was to just cut her off completely and not involve her in my life. She's not invited to my wedding. She's not allowed at my wedding. I've all of my bridesmaids are getting water guns full of wine just in case if she shows up. They're going to stay strapped. It's going to be iconic. If she shows up, she's getting sprayed. And then we're calling the police because I'm going to get eventually, once this stupid lawsuit is over, I'm going to get a restraining order on her because I don't want anything to ever do with her ever again. I'm good.
I totally get it. I literally I get it. I wish, like I said, I wish I could do that. The only thing with my situation is my therapist said it best to me one day. She said, Jodi, she said, boundaries are like drawbridges. You have to have control of that drawbridge. And she goes, when your mom it hits your property, she goes, that drawbridge grows up and you don't deal with nothing, anything, any kind of disrespect you don't tolerate. And I think that's why I am able to kind of navigate things with her when she's around. But like, I don't go out of my way to go out to dinners with them. Like, there has to be a reason on why I'm giving you permission to be in my presence because, bitch, you don't fucking deserve it. I, I don't. Especially because at one point in time, her dad did get out of jail because her dad raped all her and all her siblings. Okay, in 1995, he actually went to jail for some of the rape charges. Mine wasn't one of them, but he served his time, and it came time for him to come out. And the prosecutor contacted them and was like, "Yo, this is what's going down. What do you want to do? Here are your options." And so they made their decision, and they told me about it, and I said, "Do fucking not." I said, "You guys do whatever the fuck you want to do. Don't fucking list me on that shit." I said, I don't fucking need him to know because a no contact order is giving that person your information to not contact you or not to be where you're at. Okay. So what the fuck does this dumb bitch do? She puts me on the no contact order. Not only that, but she puts me on the no contact order, or she puts my sister on the no contact order that he knows nothing about, because Hope was not even thought of when he went to jail. So now you just gave him a whole bunch of new information to fucking look up to stalk your daughter that you don't fucking protect, that I have to protect. So once she just continued to keep doing bad, I cut her off for a while. And then my sister was like, look, I'm pregnant. And I was like, son of a fucking bitch. And then next thing I know, I just have to establish boundaries. But I mean, she hates me. If she's in my presence, she's saying not nice things. She's doing not nice things. She's titting for tatting it. So I'd have to be like really on it.
Mm-hmm. I get you, but for me, that's too much stress, and my body can't handle stress because whenever I have too much stress, I have a seizure. So it's also a form of, that total self-protection for me is I can't do it. Like physically can't do it. My body literally does everything in its ability to shut down, saying, no, we're not going to endure her. We're not going to be around her. And gotta listen to my body. I gotta start being healthy,
You do.
I
You do.
gotta be like, okay, body, you're saying that this is not gonna happen? All right. Respectfully agreed. I will not let it happen again. And it is what it is. How are you feeling right now, Jodi? How are you doing?
I'm fine. I
You're
mean,
fine?
I understand. I went through some pretty extensive therapy. I mean, there was a time where I was in therapy almost every day for a while. My therapist is God sent. I mean, I've met with other therapists, and none of them are like Miss Cynthia. So, like you said, you do therapy for so long, and I did it every day like I was supposed to for a while, and then it was kind of like I had to step back away from her, because it was like, okay, you're giving me all these tools, I have to use them. I can't just keep doing this thing where I'm listening to you. Like, I have to do them myself. So like my visits became less and less. And I mean, I still see her. We still get together. We still talk and stuff like that. But it's when I need more tools. It's like, okay, you gave me the tools to work on popping this bubble that's causing me all this pain, animosity, whatever. And let me pop that bubble, and then I'll come back to you and work on popping another bubble. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
No, and she's given me some great resources. I've read a lot of books. I've done a lot of workbooks, and I think the person that really genuinely helps me the most, podcast, like speaker wise, is Mel Robbins. Have you heard of her?
I have, yes.
I love Miss Mel Robbins, from the 5 second rule to the let them. And I think that's one thing, like I let them. I don't expect nothing out of nobody. I watch for their actions, and if their actions are bad, I'm gonna let them do them, but I know how I'm gonna act. I know how I'm gonna remove myself. I know how I'm gonna carry myself. Just because you decide to act that way doesn't mean that I have to act that way, and I don't have to associate with you. I don't care if you're Adam or Eve, and I don't care if you're my mother. I see right from wrong. I have morals.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
You're saying, yeah?
no, you're okay. You're okay. What were you gonna say?
I was going to say, speaking directly to our listeners, what would be your message about healing from that parentification trauma?
I think that it's more than just that. I think it's healing in general. As scary as it is, heal, because it's one of the most rewarding things. It may not seem like it. The footwork may be hard. It it may bring triggering episodes. It may bring dark memories back, but the outcome of it is you see color. When you're going through the parentification process, you see black and white, because that's all you know is dark or light. There's no color. There's no color till you start to actually heal. And it's people are like, maybe think like, okay, well, the world's colorful. It really isn't. It really isn't when you're going through that, because it's ugly. It's an ugly time. It's not fun. It's not what you were supposed to be doing. It's not what your friends are doing. You know, like your friends are at the park and they're playing and you're like at home making dinner, trying to get ready for bedtime and the next day, and making sure that your mom's still breathing because she decided that she was going to drink 2 gallons of fucking vodka before she went to bed. Like, it's dark. It is dark. So heal.
Mm,
Take the
mm.
step. Gary, reach out to somebody. There is somebody that is willing to listen to you. It may not seem like it. I'm here. Miss Grace is here. I mean, she's done a lot for a lot of people. Heal, please, please, genuinely heal, because it's very rewarding. And I'm not healed. I'm still healing. I don't know if I'll ever be healed, but I'll never stop trying to heal.
Amen. Amen. I think I finally come to a place where I can say that with the utmost certainty, I'm probably 80% healed. And I've had my brother, oh my goodness. So my youngest brother, um, for his senior project in like Photoshop, he was supposed to pick someone in his family and then make an anagram of their name, right? I don't know why he picked me, but he did. And for R, for in Grace, he put resilient. And that made me cry. And he told me about it. I was like, why did you pick me? First and foremost, what the hell? He was like, well, because you are resilient. You've gone through, you know, everything you could. You shielded us and you're still here and you're very resilient. And I want you to continue to be resilient, because resilience doesn't mean that you don't feel pain. Resilience doesn't mean that you don't feel anything. It means you feel everything and you still, in spite of or because of, you continue on. And I think that I am really resilient. And I haven't let any of the trauma break me or shape me into somebody that I'm not, or that I'm not meant to be. Because I know that sometimes with trauma, it can harden someone so much that they become honestly the exact opposite of who they originally were, of who they are capable of becoming. And it can make people very vengeful and very hateful and very discouraged. And I just want to tell all of you listeners, I want to encourage you that in spite of everything that you have gone through, you can overcome it. You can get better. You can grow, and you can shape your life in a way that is pleasing, that is joyful. And there is so much more to life than just the trauma, because trauma is not who you are, it's what you go through. And you are so much more than what you go through. And you are worth the effort it takes to get better, to overcome, to succeed. And if you need support, please reach out for it. Please reach out to me. Please reach out to Jodi. Please reach out on our Discord, because we're here for you. That is what I think is my life purpose, to be able to listen, to understand, and let you know you're not alone, and then help you find the resources that you need for you to take that step on your own healing journey and start getting better, because it just takes that one step in the right direction to change so many things in your life. And that's all I want. That's all I want in life, is to help people.
No, seriously, I love helping people. I love trying to make sure that they don't hurt. And I think one important thing to know about healing from trauma is that it's not paralyzing. Okay. Trauma is trauma and it's hard and it's temporarily paralyzing. I get it. I've been there. It has paralyzed me from trying to be better or to go get help. But now I can honestly say it's not paralyzing. It's okay to go get help. It's okay to unfreeze. It's okay to reach out and say and admit like I'm broken.
Yeah. It's okay to acknowledge your pain because the only way that you're going to heal is to acknowledge it.
I'm on filming a podcast. No, you're okay. I'm on a podcast right now. I'll be out. Sorry.
It's okay.
Okay. I'm coming to a different room now.
No worries. My dogs are playing as well.
Yeah.
They're going at it.
We got guard dogs is what we got.
I get you. Do you have any resources or recommendations that you'd like to share?
If you live in Indiana, in like the Northwest Indiana area, I have a really good therapist. I recommend everybody to her. You can hit me up, or if they want to hit you up, I can send you her information. And then my psychiatrist, you know, that's another part of healing that people don't talk about. When you have to get help for mental health, and you got some of these doctors that just want to throw meds at you that you're not ready for and you don't understand, and you got a stigma over that too. So like, it is okay to need a little bit of assistance in the healing journey to kind of give you that chemical balance that you should have never, you know, had taken from you. So I will provide those. Mel Robbins, listen to Grace's podcast, because I literally went through it. She talked about some damn good topics. Do your own research. Honestly, like there's some times where, you know, I'll be scrolling through TikTok and I'll hear, you know, some people talk who have other podcasts, and I'll go look up some of the wording or some of the things or some of their theories, and I'll be like, okay, you're your best advocate in life, you know, as somebody who was traumatized. Nobody's going to advocate for me, and that's been proven my entire life. I have to be my own advocate. I have to be my own healer. I have to rely on me. So rely on yourself. Reach out to yourself. You know, like, you have to do some internal work. But yes, I've fallen into Mel Robbins. There's this book. It's called How to Unfuck Yourself. Have you read it?
I have not read it, but I'm going to write it down.
I got a couple of them. Let me go to my dresser. Give me 1 second. And then there's one, can't remember the words. It's about 1,000 pages long, but it comes with a workbook, and it's for children who come from narcissistic parents and like abusive and alcoholism parents. I'll text it to you because I'll be able to find it. Calm the Fuck Down is another one that I've read. The Forgiveness Journal and Workbook I've read, and Adult Children of Emotionally Immature Parents by Lindsay Gibson.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing with us, for talking about what you've gone through.
For you, have you read this?
My Father's Eyes and My Mother's Rage. I have not, but I do have My Dad's Eyes.
You need to read it. You need to read it.
Okay.
You personally, okay? And it's not like a chapter book, it's like poems. So it's not like you have to like go through and like it's poems, and they're like, yeah. Open the book randomly at the bookstore and read one, and you're gonna be shocked.
Okay. I will, Jodi. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
I love you so much.
Please, me too. It was nice to meet you.
It was so nice to meet you too. Please text me your address so I can send you a little care package for being on the podcast, because I really, really appreciate you.
No problem.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
If you're watching us over on YouTube, here are our memes of the week, carefully curated by the amazing people over on our Discord server. Now let's get into those memes. We spin our wheel of emotions to learn a new feeling and how it correlates to trauma. All right, let's zoom in. Oh, it's out. I hate when it zooms out first, you know? But here we go. Zoom in. All right. Ooh. It landed in the surprised category in the green. Startled, dismayed, shocked. Startled, dismayed, shocked. Okay. So, surprise lands in between happy and fear. So, surprise it's more towards the fear side, right? Startled is more towards the feared side. Fight, flight, freeze, fawn. Our fear responses are key to our survival. Now, since we don't really live in tribes anymore, which I wish we did. I wish we had more community, but since we don't live in tribes anymore, that startle response usually was for if, you know, something was in the bushes and we get scared. I live in an area where there's so many rabbits. Like, I'm not even kidding. There are hundreds of rabbits and they run across, you know, the street and the fields. And I watch them sometimes. Their ears are like little discs. And whenever they hear a dog bark, they jump and they scatter as fast as they can. So that initial like jump is them being startled. And if we bring this into the context of humans, right? A lot of times we get startled by things that we don't expect. And these could be negative for us or positive for us. Like, say you come home and all your friends are there for a surprise party. You're initially startled by the surprise. Or say that you are driving and as you're driving, something runs into the road. That startle response can help you prevent yourself from hurting whatever it is that ran into the street and hitting the brake. We need these responses to survive. We just do. And when it comes to trauma, our fight, flight, freeze, and fawn responses, all four of the F's, are very enhanced. So we get easily triggered, right? I know a lot of people don't like that word because now it's being used as an insult, but it's a real thing. Getting triggered is a real thing. And so from my own experiences, a way for me to calm those triggers is for me to take really deep breaths, okay? So whenever I'm getting heightened, something that will restart your central and autonomic nervous systems is to take a lot of breath. Now, it's not taking in fast breaths, right? Which is pumping your body full of norepinephrine. No, it's taking in those long, drawn out breaths so you can return to center and start to deal with whatever startled you. That's just a little tidbit from me to you as something that maybe could help you. If you're liking what we're doing, over on this podcast, please hit that like button. If you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe, comment down below what you thought about this episode. It really helps us out a lot. And if you're watching us on YouTube, love it. I love you. Honestly, I love all the people that listen to us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. But if you're watching us on YouTube, I feel like there's so much more engagement, so I can talk to you guys some more. But if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, what would really help us out a lot is if you rate the show. It helps the show reach out to more people who could need it. Okay. Special thanks goes out to all of our Discord users. Thank you so much for sharing your stories with us over on Discord, connecting with others. I really appreciate it. Thank you for sharing your memes. Whenever I comment at everyone, please send me some memes. You guys have no idea. They help me so much. It's like an instant pick-me-up. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you guys want to support our podcast, we have a Patreon. Different tiers can get you a bracelet. That is a handmade bracelet made by me, Grace, like this one right here, which is sunstone. It's really, really pretty. Let me like pull up to the camera so you can actually see it, because it's gorgeous. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, I made this. It's really, really pretty. And I also have on my other arm tiger's eye and sandstone. So if you want to support the podcast, you can check us out over on Patreon. You can get a bracelet or a sticker like the one on the back of my computer. You can also support our podcast from buying merch on our bonfire, where you can get custom apparel designed by yours truly. Both of those links are in our description. Any support helps us out a lot, so if you feel compelled to, please like, subscribe, and share the show with your friends. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Really, I'm so grateful for all of you guys. Remember, you are capable of a fulfilling life in spite of your circumstances and your trauma. May you rise again from the ashes and be filled with peace, hope, love, joy, and understanding. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Mwah! Goodbye!